Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now today's video is going to be a little bit off the beaten path for me, but I really felt the need to share this for anyone who is looking to buy a RODECASTER Pro 2. Now these are the newest, latest, greatest units that are on the market. There's tons of tutorials and reviews that are talking about all of the great things that they can do, but I want to kind of shed some light on some of the pros and cons from my perspective, and also tell you some things that might be of interest. So before we get into the pros and cons, it's story time. Now, as most of you know, if you've hung around this channel for very long, I've owned the original RODECASTER Pro for a little over 2 years now, and I saw this as a considerable upgrade to my live streaming and my podcast setup. Now, initially when I received it, I was very happy with it. And then one day I decided to plug another mic in on channel 2 for a stereo recording setup, and after 45 minutes of cable swapping and microphone swapping, I discovered that there was actually a grounding issue that was caused by the internal preamp on channel 2 of the unit. Now, this is where it gets crazy because this discovery came about a month before my 10,000 subscriber live stream celebration. And I had some pretty notable people that was coming on this live stream, huge giveaways. It was going to be a big deal. So I figured I wanted the best RODECASTER Pro that I could possibly have, even if I wouldn't be using the second channel. So I figured I had plenty of time, with over a month now, to get this thing replaced before that live stream actually took place. So I reached out to Rode and we went back and forth through a series of emails after I had finally called them out on Twitter about their lack of response from my first email. Now, as with typical emails of this kind of nature, the email responses that I got read something like, "Hey, have you tried swapping out cables? Have you tried updating your firmware? Have you tried a new cable? Have you tried a new microphone?" and other various possible solutions that I informed them that I had already done. After going back and forth several different times through written email, I thought, well, maybe it would be best if I just record a brief video that would actually show them the issue, proving that it was in fact a grounding issue. After the proof was sent and they watched the video and finally responded, they said that they would replace the unit once I supplied them with the proof of purchase and a shipping address. So within a day, I had got my email back and things were looking promising. I went through all of the steps that they had asked me to do, and my unit was in the mail, sending it back now to Rode. Now, I have to tell you, at this point, I was a little nervous. My live stream was quickly approaching, and I didn't even have the centerpiece to my setup. I mean, Warren Hewart was going to be stopping by, and I had specific events that were taking place that required the RODECASTER, so I was checking the tracking number daily. Just to give you a time frame to let you know exactly how close this was cutting it, the unit shipped out on October 14th and arrived at the 16th at their facility. So I awaited the email about the replacement unit and nothing. Crickets. Finally, I reached back out to them on the 19th at 9 a.m. and told them, "Hey, my records indicate that you received the unit. Can you please confirm that it's in your possession?" The 20th, the next day at 7 p.m., I get an email back and the repair rep says, "Oh yeah, it looks like we did get it in, but it's not been pulled yet for repair. We'll get it back to you soon and repair it and send it back." I was like, wait a minute, you said before that you were going to replace the unit, now it's going to be repaired? So I reminded them of that wording clause and then told them that my live stream was on November 3rd, and I'd really like to get it replaced before then. No response. So I called them out on Twitter again, and all of a sudden they had time to respond to my DM, only to tell me that they needed to investigate this further. Okay, so now anxiety has set in, sweat beads are popping out on the forehead, nails are being bitten to the core, and from the time that I'd reached out until I finally got a response, 20 days had passed, and I still had no RODECASTER. So I reached out to Sweetwater. I told them the entire situation. I mean, after all, I had ordered it through them anyway, and looking back, I probably should have just called them first. Well, after a 20-minute phone conversation, my sales rep had been given the green light to have one overnighted to me from Sweetwater. The same day, Rode reaches out and says, "Hey, we did some research and we're going to send you a unit out today, overnighted." 21 days too late. So magically, after contacting Sweetwater, the very next day, I had a RODECASTER Pro sitting on my desk and ready to go. Now, the irony is in that Rode's order of the RODECASTER Pro that they had overnighted actually made it to my doorstep before Sweetwater's. And so I was able to cancel Sweetwater's emergency RODECASTER shipment just in time. But I thought that was kind of ironic that theirs made it before Sweetwater's when they're so much farther away. Anyway, now please know that I said all that to say this. It is imperative as content creators, it's imperative as YouTubers, as people who review products, as people who use them in their videos all the time, to tell the truth about these companies. I personally cannot stand the fact that there are so many people out there that are giving these glowing reviews of all of these products and never once telling you the backstory of what it took to get that product, or the struggles that they had setting them up, or the problems that they had with those products. So this was just a little bit of a glimpse behind the scenes into the real world to show you exactly what happens behind the scenes. Now, I'm not mad at the Rode company. I am a little bit disappointed with their customer service, but I do realize that my timing doesn't necessarily have to align with their timing, and they actually tried to do all that they could do to get the unit to me. It just took a little bit longer than I thought it should have. Okay, let's get into the pros and cons, because I don't want to make this a complete bashing video on Rode. That's not what it's intended for. But if you are looking to buy a RODECASTER Pro 2, here is a list of things that I feel like you need to know about before you purchase the unit. Now, as you can see, I have a RODECASTER Pro 2 sitting on the desk in front of me, and I'd love to show you how it works and discuss the upgrades that they've given to the original, but I can't. That's right, it arrived bricked. Yep, stuck on the update screen for 45 minutes. In fact, I couldn't even get past the update screen to go any further to show you any of the inner workings of the unit itself. Now, I had full intentions of making this an in-depth, unsponsored, unbiased comparison video about the two, but obviously it will not be as awesome as I'd planned because one of them don't even work. So yet again, I reached out to Rode and got pretty much the same treatment. So instead of discussing what this newer model has, let me discuss some things that it doesn't have, and maybe it will tip the scales on whether or not you really need to upgrade just yet. So I'm going to jump into the cons first, because I really don't feel like with the unit being bricked that I have enough good information to give you a good representation of just exactly what the pros and cons might be internally. But just external wise, there were some things that immediately out of the box made me realize that even if this thing did work, I still didn't want to upgrade. And here's one of the first things. Now, these are a lot of small issues, but for me, they kind of make a big difference. So the first that I'd like to talk about is the locking power adapter. Now, this really just seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, it was on the first unit. I loved it. I love the idea that if I had this thing plugged in, I'm in the middle of a podcast and something gets moved or bumped, I don't have to worry about the power cable falling out and falling behind my desk or getting someplace where I have to try to hunt it down while I'm on a live stream. With the power adapter cable actually locked in there, it was just one extra step of, I felt like, security. Now, along the same lines of things that lock, I also like the fact that the inputs on the RODECASTER Pro original version were locking inputs. Yet again, it's like another layer of security when I know that my cables are not going to be falling out, falling behind my desk, or getting lost while I'm trying to record. Now, here's another aesthetic feature that I really feel like was a big deal for me, and that is on the RODECASTER Pro, you have clearly defined faders. In fact, I mean, there's visual representations all over the place of which fader controls what. Whereas on the RODECASTER Pro 2, everything is just kind of blank and it's left up to your imagination. If you want to look at the screen, I'm sure the screen would probably show you what each channel was doing, but without having a screen, or maybe the screen was out of view, it just makes more sense to have these things labeled more appropriately so you can just reach over on the fly and begin to adjust things as you need to. Now, another huge thing that I really was not expecting is the only way to connect this to my computer was it had a USB-C to USB-C cable, and that's all that came in the box. With the original RODECASTER Pro, it has a USB-C to a regular USB input. So this made it very easy for me to plug it into my computer. In fact, the computer that I'm running on right now does not have any USB-C inputs at all. So I couldn't have even plugged in the unit unless I bought some kind of an adapter of some kind. Now, another thing that I loved about the RODECASTER Pro, the original version, that I didn't find on the Pro 2 was the dedicated external monitor control. This is very useful for whenever I have clients in the studio or I'm trying to actually listen to a mix using my monitors instead of my headphones, and I can just reach over and control the volume of that. Yet again, it's denoted as to what it is. It has visual representations. It's just super simple. It just makes sense. Whereas on the RODECASTER Pro 2, I don't see a knob for that. I only see 4 knobs for headphone adjustments. And I don't know, maybe the big knob that I couldn't get control of would control those monitors. I'm not sure, but it just makes sense on the RODECASTER Pro. It just seems like it was set up more aesthetically. Now, speaking of things that make sense, the pads that are used for sound effects or for MIDI control, it actually has a dedicated fader on the RODECASTER Pro itself, and it has sort of this broken line that shows you that this fader only controls the volume from the pads. And yet again, on the RODECASTER Pro 2, this feature was missing. I didn't know which fader controlled the pads or if any of the faders controlled them at all. And another huge oversight that I felt was missing from the RODECASTER Pro 2's packaging versus the RODECASTER Pro was all of the accessories that came with the RODECASTER Pro. So to help give you a better understanding of exactly what I mean by the accessories, in the RODECASTER Pro 2, the packaging, all that came with it was the cables that you needed to hook it up. And in fact, the cables weren't even the ones that I needed, but that's a different story. I digress. However, in the original RODECASTER Pro, you actually got some really cool stuff in the box with it. Like, say for instance, these little cards right here. Now, obviously these cards weren't needed and it wasn't like I'm using them every day for reference, but it was just really good to have some kind of something that would help you to better understand the unit that you just bought. And these have like a really cool little quick start guide that you can use to get up and running. Shows you exactly how to plug your phone in, how to plug a microphone in. This is really great for people who are not professional podcasters, who are just trying to get these things started. Now, one of my favorite accessories that came with the original RODECASTER Pro were these little templates right here. These were super cool. This is such a great idea. You can take a Sharpie or even a dry erase marker and write in here what those pads are doing and then slip it over the pads on the RODECASTER Pro. And anytime you look down, you have a visual representation of what that pad is supposed to do. Now, if you didn't want to put those pads on there, maybe you thought it looked kind of tacky, they also even included these dry erase boards. So you could mark down what the pads were doing here and pin this up at your desk so you'd have, yet again, a quick representation of what the pads are doing. All right, so I have a feeling that Rode is probably going to be checking this video out. So if some of these things are actually issues to you too, and you're like, hey, I would kind of like to have that on the RODECASTER Pro 2, or maybe you see some things that you would also like added to the newer unit as well, leave that in the comment section down below if there are things that are missing that you would like to see. Likewise, if there's anything else that you can think of that maybe I didn't cover from one unit to the other, yet again, leave that in the description down below. And if anything else, maybe this video will help to give you a better understanding of the differences between the two units so that you can make a more informed purchasing decision. Now, along those same lines, if you're interested in purchasing a RODECASTER Pro or a RODECASTER Pro 2, you can use the affiliate link that I have in the description of this video. That is an affiliate for Sweetwater. Now, when you buy something through Sweetwater, it's not just about the bag of candy, although that is a really great perk for buying something from them, but it's also about the customer service. It's about the fact that they have everything in stock almost all of the time, and that you're going to have your own personal sales representative that you can call or text at any time with questions that you might have. Now, at the end of the day, it's really all about peace of mind, knowing that whatever you buy from Sweetwater, you have not only the manufacturer's warranty, but also a Sweetwater warranty, that you have a whole team of people who are willing to back you up and make sure that your gear works, that you know how to use it, and that if anything happens to it, you'll get it replaced quickly. And every order ships with a bag of candy. All right, and one last thing before I go, there is a mixing contest for the month of July. If you have not entered, there's a link in the description. There's also a ticker at the upper right-hand corner of your screen now for you to enter. All you have to do is simply go and download the free multi-tracks, mix them, and then submit them into the contest. Even if you don't submit them, you still get a set of free multi-tracks. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can check more out on the HomeStudioSimplified.com website. So until next time, remember, we can dream alone, we can even create alone, but together, we can achieve so much more.